I recently had the chance to test out Nikon's newest prime lens, the Nikon Z 85mm f1.2 lens. After a couple of photo shoots in and out of my studio, I want to let you know what I think about this lens and answer, most importantly, is it worth the money? The Nikon Z 85mm f1.2 lens is Nikon's latest addition to their professional prime lens lineup. Whether you're a photographer or videographer, an 85mm is just one of those lenses you must have in your camera bag. Having a maximum aperture value of f1.2 means you're going to be able to take portraits in the most challenging lighting conditions. The depth of field of a lens with this aperture value means you can easily separate your subject from the background regardless of how busy it may be, producing images with beautiful, flattering compression, which is going to be great for any portrait, wedding, fashion, or boudoir photographer. I wanted to test out the contrast and the focus capability of this lens, so I made sure the sun was directly behind my model. Capturing portraits outdoors with backlighting wasn't a problem at all. Together with the Z9's autofocus, all I had to worry about was the composition of my photos. The only negative experience I could say that I had using this lens was its size and weight. But having an 85mm with an aperture of f1.2, it's to be expected. Having a professional prime lens with a very fast aperture would not be small by any means. My current go-to prime lens is the Nikon 50mm f1.2 lens, a lens I thought was a bit beefy until now. The irony is that the 85mm f1.2 actually felt very well balanced when using it with the Nikon Z9. I never felt weighed down or got tired of holding it at any time during my photo shoots. At the end of the day, it's really about the results. As soon as I started taking photos with this lens, whether it be in the studio or outdoor at f1.2, I simply didn't worry about the size, the weight, or anything else. I was really worrying about the composition and where else I can take photos of my model. I just love the experience. As soon as I saw the separation, it just blew my mind. All I thought is, how else can I use this lens creatively to create some great photos that no other lens could create in my bag? The fastest lens I have in my Nikon bag is that 50mm f1.2. And even though that is my jack of all trades lens, like if I had to bring one lens, I would bring that. The 85 fit very comfortably alongside that 50, because the 50, even though it gives me a little more latitude, I get closer to the model. I don't need to step back as much to get a full portrait of the model from head to toe. The 85 was great because there were some times where I had some objects in between me and the model, but I still didn't want to include too much of the environment. And 85 was able to get in there and give me the composition I wanted without having to be even closer. So the 85 is as I said at the beginning, just one of those focal lengths that I personally must have in my camera bag, whether it be for my videography or photography, but I definitely recommend for anybody else. Now, if this lens is not for you, Nikon has that 1.8, which I think would be great for you to pick up at definitely at a more affordable cost, but giving you the focal length that you may want for you portrait photographers out there. Me personally, as a professional, I like to get the best that I can get and the best I can afford. And I always tell folks, look, go hard or go home. So if you can afford it and if it's in your price range, I'd say definitely it's worth the money. The build quality is stunning. This lens, honestly, this lens impressed me just as much as when I got my hands on the old 105mm f1.4 lens. It's right up there with that lens in terms of build quality, the performance. Autofocus actually was really good for this focal length. I was really surprised on how snappy and how well it required my subject's focus. Of course, I was using a Z9 with it, so that definitely helps, but it was still pretty darn quick for what I expected from that focal length. I never had any hunting issues, and I didn't have any contrast issues when I was shooting that backlight, as I was mentioning earlier. It honestly changed my opinion. When this lens came out, I seriously was like, I don't think I'm going to even think of finding an excuse or a reason to try to buy this lens. Okay. Cause the cost, I thought at $27.99, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I just bought the 50-1.2 and that's about $2,200. I was like, okay, for a professional product, I felt this is where I draw the line at that price. Using this lens makes me think different. Honestly, it makes me feel different, because of what I was able to get out of it and the things I could think about, the applications in which I could use this lens made me seriously consider, okay, now it's a matter of time. When would I get this lens? Just because of how, the stunning images I was able to get out of it. And I didn't even get to test it for video. So I could just imagine what kind of beautiful video I can capture with this lens. So I'm definitely now, okay, I moved it over to now I need to figure out a way to get the lens. So that's my personal opinion. It's not for everybody. If you think the size is an obstacle and perhaps the price, then check out the Nikon Z, f1.8 85mm. And I think that would be a great option. It's super sharp. It's a lot more compact and the price point is a lot more bearable as well. And maybe that's one way to do it. Me personally, I like to just go hard because in the past, I did the steps. I did the ladder, like little baby steps, get to f1.8, then 1.4, then 1.2. And honestly, I just spent a lot more money in the long run. So with that said, that's why when the 50 came out, I just went hard on the 50 1.2 and I skipped the f1.8. These are just my opinions. Let me know what you think. Post your comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, don't forget to press that like, that share, that subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon to get notifications of my upcoming videos. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.